Hello and welcome to this lecture. In the previous lecture, you learned how to create a list, and in this lecture, you will be learning about the different operations that can be performed on a list. I have Python's idle environment open, and I have our example from our previous lecture, which is the favorite fruits example with the values apple, orange, and strawberry. The first operation which we will be discussing is the append operation. So what an append operation does is it lets you add an element at the end of the list. Say for example, you wanted to add another fruit to this list, say kiwi. So how do you do that? Favorite fruits dot append, and then you enter the name of the fruit, which is kiwi. On printing this, you get the output of apple, orange, strawberry, and kiwi, which has been added at the end of your list. The next operation which we will be looking at is the insert operation. Do you remember the mango fruit which you earlier got rid of? Now what if you've had that love towards mango and you want it back in the same position? So in that case, you can use the insert operation where you mention the index position where you want to insert the fruit and then the name of the fruit. So I want mango to be inserted at the index position 1. Now on printing this, I get the output apple, mango, orange, strawberry, and kiwi. As you can see, mango has been inserted at the index position 1. The next operation which we will be looking at is list.remove. So what remove operation does is it lets you remove any value which you mention in parentheses. So how do you do that? You enter the name of the list dot remove, and in parentheses you get rid of the fruit which you no longer want. Let me get rid of strawberry this time. Now on printing the favorite fruits list, it gives you the output without strawberry. The next operation which we will be looking at is the sort operation. So what sort operation does is it arranges your list in either alphabetically or numerically depending on the content of your list. So if I implement the sort on my favorite fruits list, let's see what happens. As you can see, since the alphabet K of kiwi is before M and O alphabetically, the order of kiwi has changed and my list has now been sorted alphabetically. The next operation is the reverse operation. So what a reverse operation does is it arranges the order of your list in the reverse order. Let's see how that works on our favorite fruits list. Let me print it. There. The order of my list previously was apple, kiwi, mango, and orange. On reversing my list, it is now orange, mango, kiwi, and apple, which is the reverse of my older list. The final operation which we will be discussing about is the pop operation. Now what a pop operation does is it fetches the last element of your list and it returns that element to you, and also it deletes that element from the list. So if we implement it on our favorite fruits list, let's see what happens. So as you can see, it has returned the last element of my list, which is apple. Now if I print my favorite fruits list, my list now does not contain apple. That's the end of this lecture and this section. Let's take a quick review about what we learned in the section of lists. We started this section by talking about what a list is. A list is a container that holds many objects under a single name. And then we saw how to define a list. You need to have a variable name followed by an assignment operator and your objects enclosed within a pair of square brackets. Now we have an example list which is best friends, and it has the elements Mark, Mary, Maria, and John, which are separated by comma. And then we saw how to access values in a list. Each value in a list is identified by an index position starting from 0. So the first element in your list has the index position 0, the second element with the index position 1, and so on. So in our example, best friends, when used with an index position of 0, it returns the value mark. And then we saw some of the list operations. The first operation which we saw was the append operation. The append operation is used to add an element at the end of your list. So you use the name of your list with the .append function and you mention an element which you want to add at the end of your list. So in this case, it is bestfriends.append with the name Matthew. Our list is now appended at the end with the name Matthew. And then what we saw was to insert an element into your list. Now what if you don't want to append into your list, which means to say, what if you don't want to add at the end of your list but somewhere in between your list? In that case, you use the insert function where you pass the index position and the element to be added. Now we pass the index position 1 and the element as Ben. So our list now has Ben at index position 1. Then what we saw was the remove operation, which is used to remove an element from the list. So in our example best friends, we used .remove with the element Mary. So Mary is no longer a part of our list. Then what we saw was the sort operation, which is used to sort your list alphabetically. So if you use the sort on best friends, it sorts it alphabetically with Ben starting at the beginning of your list and Mark at the end of your list, all sorted in alphabetical order. And then we saw the reverse operation, which is used to reverse a list. So if you call your list with the reverse operation, the order of your list gets reversed. So we now have Mark at the beginning of our list and Ben at the end of our list. Then we saw the pop operation, which is used to remove the last element from your list, and it also returns that element to you. So if you use it with bestfriends.pop, you get the output as Ben, and also Ben gets removed from the end of the list. So that's the end of this section on list. Go through all the notes and exercise problems, practice all of them. If you have any doubts or if you're stuck and you need help, feel free to use the discussion board and I'll help you from there. The next section is on tuples and I'll see you there. Thank you.